Welcome to East Meets West, and it's all about leadership. Today, we're talking mostly on having hard conversation. Some of us as leaders, we run from these difficult or tough conversation, and I see this play out in many organizations. It is hard for leaders to call people out on behaviors, maybe just sitting with them actually and go through some of the things that needs to be addressed. However, some leaders are more scared of what that person will think of them, or they just maybe don't care, or whatever it is that is going through their mind that is causing them from having these difficult conversations. So today we're going to talk about how you as a leader, how can you develop the right mindset to go into these difficult conversation and be okay, and understanding that you can't run from it. You must be able to handle these conversation and handle them in a proper manner, I would say. Because some of us can go, yes, we are ready to deal with the difficult conversation, but then the way we approach it might not be the best way, and it might not give you the results that you would like. So, with me today, we have Coach Harish all the way from India, and he will be joining as we talk about having difficult conversation as leaders. Coach, welcome.
Good evening from India and good afternoon to people in Guyana. I want you to look at why do we have difficult conversations? Do we need to give them the pleasure as a leader to ask the question, are you aware? Are you aware that this and so on, to complete the sentence? And also, I need you to help me to understand the situation. Can you give the ball on the other side as a leader and accept to receive, be the receiver in the conversation than being the giver? Address these two questions, these phrases which I said. Are you aware that, and the conversation? And number two, I need you to help me to understand your perspective, your situation, your point of view. These are two great phrases. And that should be the leaders to ask them those comfortable questions. And you know what? It's all about asking questions and getting the responses. So that's my point of view. And having these conversations at a different plane, you don't go down to that dirt. Keep it above the level that you feel the joy to converse with your team, with your leadership, with the people in the leadership who matter. It's important. I don't see any reason for people not doing it, except for the big fat E. Why should I? The ego is the only limiting factor. And you got to create a common ground and give them the opportunity to respond. Not like this, but at par. So, all this is all about how you look at the other person. And it's important for the leader to look at this perspective. What are your thoughts on that, Shanti?
Indeed. As you were speaking, I'm thinking of some steps of how we as leaders, how can we approach this conversation. And what I heard is, how do you be clear from the beginning when you enter? So we're thinking of how do you develop, you know, a mindset, or how do you approach the difficult conversation, right? And doing it in such a way that you don't bring across negative negativity, or even, you know, some of us entered, and I'm using this because I've learned that a kind word turn away wrath. And sometimes we enter the conversation already with our own preconceived thoughts of what you want out of it, or without even listening. You just came to make your point and move on, and expect that person to just get it, or not even listening to what, as you said, their perspective, right? Where are they coming from? And it's important too that you're asking questions back to say, you know, am I hearing you correctly? Just to clarify that you heard correctly and you did not hear what you want to hear. I experience this maybe almost on a daily basis. Sometimes I say something and that person just keep interpreting it in a different way, and I keep thinking, is it me that don't communicate correctly, or is it this person takes everything that I say and twist it and turn it into what they wanted to hear, really? So, coming back to us as leaders, if we go in a conversation with a mindset of what we are seeing something is about, without even listening first to hear what the other person is saying, conform with them what they said, so that you don't run off with the wrong idea of what they're saying and assume and make a fool of yourself what they're saying, and then you end up in an argument and nothing is going to come out of that. And one part of it I wanted to add here is that when you repeat what the person say, or you ask them, it is so important that you allow them to respond, meaning shut up, just keep quiet and don't say anything. And it could be so awkward sometimes, this long silence, that when you're not accustomed to, stay quiet, it's uneasy and unsettling for you when you're in a room and you ask a question and the person is not responding and you're tempted to just say something again. I want to challenge you as a leader. Don't say anything, just wait, give the person a chance to answer. What are your thoughts on that, Coach? Unmute yourself.
I said there should not be a traffic jam. There should be a process of free flow in the conversation, and the inner word is respect. Don't disrespect each other. A. You may not agree, but give them a listen, and you can always create another opportunity to diffuse the situation. You realize what I'm saying? When you don't come to an agreement on an issue, okay, let's talk about it some other day. When you diffuse, the steam goes away and the other person gets an opportunity to rethink. In the heat of the moment, when the temperatures are going up, you do not listen. You only want to say, I am right. You got to listen to me. And the whole blood circulation comes to your face, and the anger and the anguish is visible. So, what the leader needs to do is, okay, I heard it, let's talk it next week. You diffuse the situation. That is what you call you are in control of stage. You are in control of the conversation, the environment, and the moment. And as senior leaders, you may not like the conversation, but you have the power to dilute and diffuse, to take it up another day, another time, and come out with the perspective which is acceptable to both of you. So don't trigger a fight. Don't trigger an environment which is not good for you, for them, and for the people around you. I think this is a great opportunity for leaders to grow or outgrow with their current behavior to a new set of behavior. And when there are tough conversations, calm, quiet, relaxed, and let go. We will speak on next Sunday over lunch at my place. Look at it. And what would you like to eat? Do you see how the diffuse status is coming in? You're offering him something, and I know you like fried prawns. I'll ask my wife to make it for you. Do you see how you diffuse? And when, as a leader, you're in control of the situation, the stage, it's your mannerism that time. Your behavior at the moment, not to be agitated, not to be egoistic, and yet not lose your ground. It's a very great opportunity for leaders to diffuse. Have you seen a bomb not exploding? The excitement. You light a bomb and it does not explode. How do you feel? And when the other person says, I knew it would not ignite. You created an environment such that it would not ignite. And that is the strength of the person who is holding the stage. And that's why he's called the leader. So that's what I feel. And in this all scenario, maintain positivity and a positive flow of the conversation. Don't let it go to the other side. Because once feelings change and the temperature rises, when the temperature rises, the way you speak shifts. What you speak, you're not in control of. And when you're angry, you don't know what you speak. Because you got to show the other person that you're angry and throw it out. And that throwing out is garbage. And leadership has no business to throw out. Leaders have to be decisive, leaders have to be in control, and leaders have to make that decision conveyed in a manner which is proper and decent and appropriate. Look at these three words. Very important. You don't lose your calm, collected mind and just throw up. No. Even if you're calm, collected, assertive, and yet dilute the situation, the other person will accept you sooner than later. When he goes back home, he will realize that he was wrong. But he was not giving in to the conversation because of his pride, his ego, his prestige. You know what? They do a lot of things for the people. Even if they don't want to do it, people do it. Because they say, you are the leader. Why did you bow down? Why did you let it go? So that environment, the emotional connect which he has, and yet uses those powerful words. I mean, I'm happy to converse. Let's have another round of talks over lunch or dinner or drinks or coffee. You know how you take the conversation to the next day, next week, and dilute the situation, and you get time for each other to reflect. Was I right? Was I wrong? Did I did the right thing or not? And that's a great attitude I must share. In leadership, this is a great attitude if you can arrive at a common purpose, common goal another day by diffusing the day to day. You know what happens? The relationship stays cordial, the relationship stays good, and you are in a position to come closer than go farther. I love this approach. If you ask me, you pat on the back, stick around, listen to him, invite him for a tea or coffee or a drink or a lunch or dinner, and the whole thing diffuses. And yet you are not losing your ground. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm thinking that sometimes indeed we need to be able to know when to approach something and when to give it enough time so that you calm yourself down. And sometimes something might trigger you at that point there and you need to deal with it, but then you're not in a state of mind to actually handle that conversation. And indeed, you might need to give it some time. One of the area though that comes to mind is the law of diminishing intent, and how that could also kick in, that the longer you wait to do something you should do now, the greater the odds that it will never be done, right? And so I come back at the beginning, what I said is that some of the leaders, some of us refuse to actually have these difficult conversations when you need to have it. And you might say that, okay, tomorrow we'll wait to for everything to calm down and then I'll go. And tomorrow reach and okay, maybe into next week, maybe by the weekend I'll do this. And one of these days becomes none of these days, and the situation never got dealt with is one. So that part of it is just be careful that you don't put it off so long that it lost its effect of what you needed to address, right? And go ahead.
I want to share here. When you maintain respect, one word, maintain respect with the person, what is the end result? You cannot fight. You cannot be at blows with each other. And you still feel, yes, we need to talk it out in a cordial, pleasant environment. Because you, as leaders, have followers, and followers cannot take sides. You got to work together in the same environment and become better and better because you have a common goal, a common game that is making profits for the organization or for the place you work or the people you work for. So it's important for leadership to maintain, and you can give in if you went wrong at an appropriate time by diluting the issue. I know leaders take positions, and that is sometimes right and sometimes wrong. The attitude and the approach on those moments has to be very clear. What do I gain and what do I lose? And can I get it back by diluting it today or by postponing it for another day and by realizing and coming up straight, okay, let's do it. and quietly just do it. You may take a wrong position, but that moment was right for you to take a wrong position. But today it's appropriate for you to say, okay, what were you saying, Henry? Come show me that paper. I'm happy to sign. You change the whole situation. And you don't need to justify anybody. Why did you do that the other day? So, leadership is also about how to correct the future path. Leadership is also about how to reconnect and make this place better. Leadership is not about disconnect. You can't have a disconnect for long. You can't have a disconnect because you carry yourself and you carry yourself for a long time. You don't carry for a day or a month. You carry as a leader. You become a leader, grow as a leader in the community, in the organization, in the space that you occupy. So I have my strong views. Positioning, I agree, because of people. Diffusing, also, I agree. Postponing is situational. And giving it back also is accepting. Okay, Henry, I did a mistake that day. Let's do it. Just do it. And it gets over.
So,
So, what are your thoughts? Yeah.
indeed, I think as the leaders, and you come to the understanding, okay, how do I approach this situation? How do I approach the conversation? So, are you willing to ask yourself the hard questions before you enter? Because if you do respect that person, it is that you must know, do you want to, right? Do you want to invest this time with this person? Are you willing to invest your energy to help bring the change or help that person to understand something that maybe they're not understanding, right? So there are questions that you can ask yourself before you enter the conversation so that you can diffuse all the tension that you would have built up in going and approach this. So have I invested also? This is so key that did we invest enough time or in the relationship so that when I meet with this person, I can be very candid with them, and therefore it would not have that kind of disconnect with each other. But if I don't know you well, I did not get to know you, but I'm coming to correct you, and I'm going to come to bring things to your awareness, and you don't maybe respect me enough to take those things from me, then you're going to have this kind of problem where people is just going to either shut down or they're going to end up in an argument, argue back, depends on their personality. So do you actually demonstrate the value that you value the person? How do you do that? And I think some of these are key questions that you're asking yourself before, the hard questions before you go into the conversation with the person. So you don't end up disrespecting them, you don't end up devaluing them. And you're able to ask yourself. So your motives and everything, your intention before you go into the conversation was already set, that I am here to serve this person. I'm here to help this person. I value this person. I valued my relationship with them. And I'm here to help them get beyond whatever this is. And I think it all comes from our heart. Do we want to do this? Right? Because some of us just don't care and we approach and we speak as whatever, but the person doesn't know you so well to understand that because you care, you're asking the hard question, right? And that disconnect I see happen a lot. People
I have
must
a
know
thought
that
here.
you care. Yeah.
I have a thought here. Do you have a why before you ask that question? When you have a why, you also need to know What does the other person expect? And is he prepared to expect the harsh reality? Or you know, need to go soft on him on those areas? Because today, emotional connect, empathy is the most important thing for building or breaking relationships. Feelings, emotions, words, when said and when you were silent, and how harsh were your words, is all about the connect or the disconnect. And everything matters today. Small things can become big, and big things can be overlooked and let go. It's your attitude and approach as a leader, how you address it. And I come from the house of emotional connect because I'm an emotional guy. I look at sitting on the other person's chair and visualizing how is he feeling while being with me. And when I say those harsh words, how is it affecting him? And I'm either am I cutting the relationship or I'm making it stronger. My words have got power, and my emotions have to be connected with that power so that I can get the results we both want. Remember, it's all about the results we both want, and to trigger the right results, you have to move your hand halfway to receive the other hand halfway. You are as a leader, it's an opportunity to show your hand first, then expect the hand from the other person. I am a person who looks at emotional connection above everything else. And I love this fact that everybody who is emotionally connected has got top of the mind respect and integrity and trust building up. And this is all about going the long journey together. If these three ingredients are missing, respect, integrity, and trust, you are missing on the goal, and I don't see any common ground for you to move ahead. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And remember, everybody has something special to serve, and give them an opportunity to serve that something special. Value that and create value as a leader in your team. I love this. I love this approach. And I've been doing this for almost 30 plus years. Yes. Being emotional is also good. I don't know why people say being emotional is not good, but I feel being emotional is the best thing to happen because you can feel the other person, be in his shoes, realize what is he going, and then find a solution which is helpful for you and him and the common ground which you're creating. I'm happy to share this. Yeah, lovely.
Thank you, Coach. You know, respect, integrity, trust, indeed, very important. And in closing, I want to say to our viewers, as leaders, if you're not aware of your triggers, if you're not aware of how you are showing up and how you are addressing things, you're not aware of your emotions, it will be that you are actually giving your power over to that person. So instead, when you're aware, you're able to control yourself now. And by asking yourself question is going to help you to be able to control your thinking and your approach as you move forward. So look back, look deep into you and see what questions do you ask yourself before you enter these tough conversations. And indeed, seek help maybe read some books, look at some video, listen to somebody who can help you understand how your approach might be affecting someone else, the emotional intelligence side of it, how to kick in on that side, and the side of feelings and logics. I think that's a whole different conversation for next day. So, Coach Harish, thank you very much for your time, and we will talk again on the next Thursday. And so, have fun. And
Looking forward, dear, and I'm enjoying these conversations with you. East meets West once a week, every Thursday, 10 p.m. India time and 12:30 noon Guyana time. Let this bond, let this relationship keep growing. East meets West again next week. Till then, alvida. Bye bye.
goodbye.